Hi, this is Wes Harper with the Garage Game Series, getting ready to talk to you guys about GG1, and today we're going to go over the movement standards for WOD 1, which basically we're going to have RX Elite, both men and women, and then the RX men are going to be doing the exact same movements. The RX women are going to be doing a slightly different movement that we'll go through, but for your RX Elite and your RX men, we're going to be doing a full snatch, and that can be a power snatch with an overhead squat, or you can do a complete full squat snatch all in one movement. The things that we're looking for here is that we get full extension at the top of the movement, and then at the bottom of the movement we at least get our hip crease below parallel, and then when we stand up we want to see a good open hip, full extension at the top of the movement. Combining that with burpee muscle ups. On the burpee muscle up we're looking for good burpee standards, typical CrossFit burpee standards at the bottom, which just means that my chest has to touch the ground. So we are going to actually look and see that and make sure that you have your chest touching the ground at the bottom of the movement. And then when you jump up and grab the rings, we want to see you turn your hands out. So we're basically separating the movements between the burpee and the muscle up so that you just can't jump your way through the transition of the muscle up. So good hands out positioning as you start your muscle up. And then at the top of the movement, we're looking for full extension where your elbows are locked out and you're fully extended above the rings. If you're an RX woman, the only thing that's going to be different for you versus the RX men, the RX Elite men, and the RX Elite women is instead of doing a burpee muscle up, you're going to be doing a burpee chest to bar pull up. Same standards apply here. When you do the burpee, we've got to see your chest touches the ground completely, and then when you jump up and grab a hold of the bar, you have to have a full lockout bottom position before you're allowed to initiate the chest to bar pull-up. On the chest to bar pull-up, yes, we do mean you have to actually touch the chest. We'll have a movement standard judge. They're looking to make sure that contact is made with your chest, and if they don't see it, they're going to no rep you. So be sure that you touch the chest at the top of the movement. For our scale competitors, we're going to be performing a power clean. The power clean is going to be standard rules on the power clean where the bar is going to have to touch the ground in between every rep, and you're going to bring it up to a full rack position. So that full rack position includes the bar resting on the shoulders with the hips fully extended and locked. We don't want to see anybody muting the hips, and we don't want to see anybody who doesn't get the bar actually in the rack position. A lot of times you'll see someone who kind of catches it around mid-chest area. That's going to be a no rep. We want to see that full locked out rack position at the top. In addition to that, we're going to be doing burpee pull-ups. So all scale competitors are going to do a full burpee, same standards we talked about earlier for the RX and the RX Elite. And then they're going to get to a full locked out position at the bottom of the pull-up. And then the pull-up is initiated from that full locked out position and is completed once the chin reaches over the bar. So this is a chin over the bar movement. Be sure to get your chin over the bar. We're going to have a no rep on that one as well. The scaled masters, instead of doing power cleans, are going to be doing deadlifts. Deadlifts just have to touch the floor on every single rep, full extension at the top of the movement, and instead of doing a pull-up variation, they're going to be doing a burpee and then jumping up on a 45-pound plate. So it's going to be a burpee to plate jump movement for the scaled masters. Now I'm going to go into WOD 1A. WOD 1A is going to be a continuation.
Hey, whoa.
What? Go over 1A.
1A! So for WOD 1A, we've got 21:15:9 of kettlebell swings and wall balls. It happens 1 minute after you complete WOD 1. For the kettlebell swing, we want to see that the bell is beneath the thighs, beneath the pelvic bone. It can't be somewhere out in front of you in space at the bottom. At the top, it's got to be overhead with ears showing on the side so that you can actually get your arms completely overhead, not in front of you. The angle of the bell does not matter. The arms should be reaching towards full extension, though to get to complete full extension will not be necessary, but anything that appears like a shortcut of the attempt at full extension will be. And we do this because we realize some people have that limitation where they won't have completely straight elbows holding a kettlebell overhead. As we go through to different divisions in the kettlebell swing, we will move away from that American swing to the Russian swing. In this workout, we will also bring in beginners and teen athletes. And this will be your first WOD. You won't be doing WOD 1. 1A is a standalone WOD for you. In the swing, when it's a Russian swing, the bell is in front of you, the arms are extended, and you can see underneath the bell, so the bell is over your eye level. That is important to get a rep to count for that Russian swing. Now, variation on the American swing. You can take that bell from beneath the pelvis, straight overhead in a snatch movement, as long as we get to that finish with the bell overhead, ear in front of the arm, and the arms are really close to perfectly straight, then we have a good movement. Wall balls. There's not a whole lot of variation that we can give you on the wall ball. We know that some people have a hard time getting to full depth while doing wall balls. You better work hard. So picking up the wall ball from a static position on the ground, you will stand to complete standing position to start the movement. From that position, you will then squat so that the crease of the hip is below the knee. From there, whatever you want to do to release that ball in such a fashion that it ends up touching your target. It has to make contact with the target, and these are targets, so accuracy really counts. Missing a target will result in lost time for sure, as well as a lost rep. So if you do not catch the ball and you let the ball drop to the floor, that is fine. The rep is going to count as long as you initiated it from either a standing position or you had caught it on that prior rep. So now you drop the ball and you want to start up again. The ball comes to a completely dead stop on the ground. You pick it up to full standing position and then begin again with your squats. So 21-15-9, really simple movement for everyone to accomplish and to do fantastic at. We really hope that you don't mess anything up because we're going to no-rep you for sure. WOD number 2, we got lots of movements. We've got an iPad to help keep me straight. So, the squat clean. As you would expect from a squat clean, you will pull that barbell from the floor and you will catch that in a squat. From that position, you will stand up to complete full standing position, just like described for WOD 1 for the power cleans for that group. And this one, we want to make sure there's elbows in front of the barbell, the hips are completely extended as well as the knees at the top of that movement. Can you power clean and then squat? Sure, that's fine if you choose to do that. But the squat clean is simply that that bar came from the ground, that at some point in the middle of the movement, the crease of the hip was below the knee, and at the finish of that movement, barbell in the rack position, elbows in front of the barbell, hips and knees are wide open. So we also have handstand walks. This one is for the elite group. The handstand walk. We will have a line which delineates the starting position, which your hands have to be in contact with the ground with no feet in contact with the ground prior to reaching that line. So you would start right before that line, handstand walk your way to another line where your hands will have to clear that line. And when you come out of your handstand, every part of your body has to be clear of that line. So for you to finish, you can't come back down with your feet on the near side. You have to get completely beyond that line when you come down. Now, what if you fall out of the handstand along the way? The furthest part back, or the part of your body closest to the starting position, will be where your hands have to start to reinitiate the handstand walk. You can't somehow gain distance by falling forward and falling forward and falling forward. That won't work. So basically, this short handstand walk, approximately 15 feet, is one length. It's really designed to make sure that you can handstand walk. It's not going to be, can your shoulders last for days? All right. So for a pistol, we've had a lot of questions because last year we had a pretty loose pistol standard. This year we do not. The pistols this year are going to be leg is out in front of you, so your body does look like a pistol. When you go down into full depth, the way to ensure your full depth would be for you to feel your hamstring contact your calf. At that point, you know you are low enough, but what we're looking for as the judge is looking is that the crease of the hip is below the knee. So you got to get down nice and low. As you come back up, the completion of a pistol is that that leg that was the squatting leg is fully extended at the knee and the hip before the opposite leg touches the ground. So you need to be able to get to full extension under control. You're not falling out. So you stand up and then that leg goes down. We recommend get comfortable with hopping on that one leg if you start to fall out of it, to ensure you come to a static position before putting down that front leg. Now that front leg, you can't let it touch the ground during the pistol, so we're going to let you hold on to it with your toe, or with your hand, excuse me. You can grab your toe with your hand if you'd like and try to hold that up, or your heel, or whatever you want to grab. You're able to use your hands to hold that leg up. That's fine. We don't care about that. We're going to have some replacements for the handstand walk, first and foremost. So our most common replacement that you're going to see are the deficit handstand push-ups or the handstand push-ups. And so the deficit is simply that you'll be on parallettes. You're going to lower yourself down to an ab mat. You touch, we see full contact with that mat, and then you come up out of that. And full extension of the handstand push-up means that you're fully extended at the arms, so elbows are straight and locked out. The shoulders are obviously going to be completely contracted. You're not going to be open at the shoulders. Everything is locked out. And we want to see control, so your feet are against the wall. Handstand push-ups are the same thing. Just take away the deficit, and it's the exact same movement for the handstand push-ups. We have plate squats. We have squats, and we have regular push-ups too. So push-ups, these are hand release push-ups. So what that means then, we have to flash the hands, bringing them up off the ground, so that you're just on your chest for an instant. And we have to be able to pass a piece of paper between your hands when they're up off the ground. That's it. So just slightly off the ground for an instant. And then as you push up, you can come out in what we have commonly referred to as the worm, as long as you get to at least complete plank position at some point, or you even bring your rear or glutes through that full plank to demonstrate that you have gotten all the way up. So we got to get at least all the way up. Arms fully locked out, elbows are extended, everything is locked out. So that's required for that push-up. For the plate squat, you'll be given a plate that you will hold either in front of you at the chest or in front of you with two hands, however you want to hold it, so that it's in the front of you somewhere. It's not on top of your head, it's not behind your back. It's being held in front of you with your two hands. And then you go to a full depth squat, so crease of hip below the knee, come back to full extension at the top. That's for the plate squat. And then we get down into the beginner level and we have just plain old squats, no plate involved, now just completely showing that you have the ability to squat to depth. We want to get the hip below the crease of the knee, and then to the top is full extension. Now, what if you're a beginner and you don't have that flexibility, you can't get to full depth? That's okay. What we'll do is we're going to pile a stack of people on your back to try to push you down as deep as we can. And when we see the limitation of your flexibility, this is prior to the workout starting, then that will be your new standard. So we're going to get you as deep as we can, and that's your standard. So if you start to get less and less depth over time, you're going to get no reps still, because we want you to get at least what you can give us. All right? Beginners, you're going to have a great time, a lot of fun. We don't want to no rep you. We want you to have a good time with this. But at the same time, we want to have some kind of standard that ensures that we're going to be pretty good here across the board. We got to give some deadlifts to you beginners as well, because you don't need to squat clean. You're going to be deadlifting. That is WOD 2. A lot of good stuff there. Have fun with that one.
All right, WOD 3 is Field of Pain 3. For this one, I'd highly recommend bring gloves, bring warm clothes, bring stuff you don't mind getting wet, dirty, nasty, or tearing up, because it could be really bad. And this is going to be outside. As you would imagine, it's going to be in a field, and we're going to have a lot of kind of old school type stuff involved in this. One thing, we're going to have a stone, and depending on what division you're in, you're going to be handling either a 75-pound stone or a 115-pound stone. You're also going to be dealing with an axle. So, like I said, dress appropriately. Be sure that you are ready to handle stones and handle axles. First part of the movement we want to go over is what we're going to do with the stone. So the stone is basically going to be sitting on the ground at the starting line. And you're going to pick up this stone 15 times from the ground, and you're going to put it on top of your shoulder. Now, one thing that's a little different that we're going to make you do this year is we're going to make you demonstrate that you can do both shoulders. If you're like most people, you've got a preference on which shoulder you like to shoulder the stone on. So we're going to make you at the very beginning, at the starting line, you're going to shoulder it 15 times from the ground to your left shoulder. And then you're going to walk it roughly 30 feet. You can walk it, you can jog it, you can run it, you can carry it any way you want to. You can carry it on your shoulder, you can roll it down to where you're carrying it out in front of you, but you got to get that stone from the starting line to the other side of the field 30 feet away. Now when you're on the other line, when you've gone 30 feet, now you're going to do 15 shoulder stones with your other shoulder. So you started with your left, now you're going to go from the ground to your right shoulder. You're going to do that 15 times, and then you're going to walk it back to the starting line 30 feet away, and you're going to pick up an axle. Now you've got to get the axle from the ground to your shoulder. How you do that is completely up to you. But what you're going to do is you're going to take it from the shoulder and go overhead 15 times. Now what we're looking for with this is that the axle comes to the shoulder level at the start of the movement, and then you get full extension at the top. So by full extension, what we're looking for is that you are locked out overhead and that we can see your ears. Now you don't have to exaggerate and really push your head forward like a lot of people do, but we do need to be able to see your ears. So be sure you get fully locked out at the top of the movement. After your 15 axle to overheads, you're going to front rack walking lunge it to the other side of the field. Now what we're looking for on the walking lunges are, one, you've got to be in a good rack position. So the elbows have to be in front of the axle, and you've got to have it resting on the front of the shoulder. When you do the walking lunge, we're looking for two main things. One, we want to see that the elbow at least kisses the ground as you're walking, and then when you come up in the top of the position, we've got to show that you've got a demonstration of a full open hip. So you can't mute the hips and stay really low to the ground. We want to see you fully open the hips on each of the steps. Once you get to the other side of the field, you're going to basically do the same thing. It's 15 more shoulders to overheads with the axle, and then you're going to walking lunge it all the way back. One more thing we want to talk about on the stones. When you're doing the stone to the shoulder, the easiest way to make sure that you've got the full position is to let the stone roll off your back. Because what we can't have you doing is just cleaning it to the chest position. It's got to be all the way on your shoulder. And if you want to be extra careful with it and make sure you don't get no rep, just let it roll off the back of your shoulder. Now if you're a scaled competitor, what you guys are going to be doing on this is you're going to be deadlifting the stone. So instead of doing stone to shoulders, you're just going to be deadlifting it to a full locked out position where your hips are fully open and you're holding the stone out in front of you. And that's the WOD standards for WOD 3 Field of Pain.